Hey there. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hello,
Hey.
hello.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so
Hello.
much for being here. Brand Rewind Live. We've got a lot to get to today. So thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us. I'm Denise Kaigler. My company is MGK Brand Management, and I'm coming to you from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts.
Hi, everyone. I am Barika Phillips Bell, and I am with B3 Media Solutions, and I'm coming to you from sunny California.
So jealous. Hello, I'm Petia Abdur-Razzaaq, and the name of my company is the Stylista Group, and I'm coming to you from Harlem, New York, where it's warming up a bit, but not quite as warm as California.
That's
Not
true.
at
That's
all.
true. I am Zoe Mitchell of Sharp Processes, and I am from the T dot, aka Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's warmer today, so I'm going to show off a little bit. Not like you, Barika.
Sorry about that, guys. You know, I have to pump California weather. It's always great here.
But you know what's so interesting? I don't know what's happening, but it's just different though. The weather patterns are not the same. It was actually warmer here in Boston than it was where my daughter lives in Texas a couple of days ago. I was like, what? What is happening? What is
That
happening?
is crazy.
So, that's crazy. That's
I
crazy.
shoveled 2 days ago.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Mm.
Okay.
I know nothing
It's all
about that
gone.
shovel. I know nothing about that shoveling life.
All right. We're not listening. We're not listening.
All right, we're not.
But you know, I tell you, talk about crazy. So what we're going to spend the rest of our time together, the next 25 minutes or so together, is what we do on Brand Rewind Live, as we look at the personal and business brands of the past week or so. What were their actions and behaviors, and what can we learn from them? So I am going to kick off this first segment, dying to talk about this story. I'm sure, unless you were under a rock the last few days, you've heard about this story. So her name is Jane Campion, and she's a director. In fact, one of the very few directors who can call herself an award-winning director. She won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Director for her film, The Power of the Dog, last weekend. I think it was last weekend or a few days ago. Now she's on stage and she's got this platform, being this woman, this powerhouse woman in Hollywood, which is dominated, as you know, by white men, at least the producers and directors, well, everywhere actually. And she's just won this great award. But rather than, well, she started off by giving kudos to some of the women, but she unfortunately added this in her speech. Take a look.
And Serena and Venus are such marvels. However, you do not play against the guys like I have to.
Well, okay. Now, why? So the question is, why did she have to go there? And of course, social media was having none of it because she got creamed for those comments. Now, as you saw very briefly, and later on, there was the backdrop of Venus and Serena very politely clapping and applauding. But it certainly makes one think, what was she thinking? So the next day, she did issue an apology. I'm guessing someone probably told her that she needed to issue an apology. But so, what would have, well, first of all, what would have made her say such a thing? And then she has this opportunity to really enjoy all of these kudos for her work, have all of the support around her, and she takes makes the unfortunate decision to produce clouds, storm clouds over this, what should have been a really, really great occasion. What do you guys think about that?
And during Women's History Month, when we should all be celebrating each other, there's so many different ways we can look at this. I mean, I have no idea. I don't, you ask yourself, like, what was behind that? Like, I get the vibe of wanting to, possibly portray that what she does is more important than what other people are doing. I mean, it just had no place at all. She should have just enjoyed the moment and moved on. I have no idea what she was thinking.
Part of me, I'm sorry, I just want one thing. Part of me wonders if she was so starstruck, because she was talking about Venus and Serena and getting tennis lessons from them. And maybe she just got caught up in the moment, you know?
Right. That's what I was going to say, is that maybe she was just so nervous in the moment that she just kind of like put her foot in her mouth. It happens.
Yeah.
And it was totally innocuous. But of course, the fallout from that like spanned like for several days.
Right.
Hence why we're talking about it now.
Yeah, let me just read quickly, Zoe. Let me read what her apology, her statement. It was a statement. Right. She didn't say any. She didn't come out and do an interview or anything. At least not that I've seen yet. But her statement was, "I made a thoughtless comment equating what I do in the film world with all that Serena Williams and Venus Williams have achieved. I did not intend to devalue these two legendary Black women and world-class athletes." And she goes on, talks about how, yes, they actually do take on men. So first of all, she was factually incorrect because they take on men and they win against the men.
Yeah. The thing about it, I think that's an autopilot. I think that it came from a place of always having to compete. It's that feeling of that there's only that one spot.
Yeah.
Right.
And she might have been in a place where she's always having to take down others to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was just an autopilot, to be quite honest. That's my view.
Yeah, that's probably probably exactly what that was. You're probably right.
Yeah. So anyway, that was unfortunate. And it was good she came out with the apology. It was good to see that. It was good to see that. So let's move on. Zoe, what you got? Another woman
Yes. So for those who have not heard, this past weekend, Naomi Osaka was heckled. She was heckled. The words were like, "Naomi, you suck." And it was done in a moment where it was quiet and everybody can hear it. And when it happened, Naomi walked over to the umpire and she said to them, "Can you please eject this heckler?" She eventually lost the match. The person was not thrown out of the game. And after the game, she took the mic. And as usual, she was, very well spoken, but she addressed the crowd and she literally said, it's beyond just being heckled. It's being heckled at the same tournament. And so she was triggered because in 2001, Serena and Venus, once again, the Williams sisters, were also verbally abused during that match. And so for her, it was this reverberating of the words and replaying in her mind the experiences of two other Black female tennis players in that moment. And I know that many people say, she needs to toughen up and thicken her skin, it's part of the game. But I'd like to call out that, she is a 4-time Grand Slam tennis champion. She has thick skin. You can't do that 4 times. I don't have a Grand Slam championship. To do it 4 times, you have to have thick skin. She has not called out every time she's heckled. And, the thing about it, I would say for myself that I would speak to is, as a competitive athlete, having that extra heavy burden of not only just being heckled, but being heckled because I was a Black woman on a soccer field and the only one in the tournament, that's heavy. And that after a while takes a toll on you. And so when we're speaking about brands, that toll never showed up as a rant. It never showed up as, a temper tantrum on the field or running off her mouth. She's always poised. She's always on brand. She speaks honestly. She's always authentic. Her brand is always real. From when she supports Black Lives Matter with her, with her masks and the names, to representing Japan in the Olympics. Naomi, I have to give her a high five, because even if she's rattled and in tears in the moment, she's always professional. She always shows up polite and respectful. There's nothing that rattles her beyond what her true brand is, but she admits she's human. And so for me, and in this time especially, there's so much performative brands out there. And it's refreshing to see that at the end of the day, her brand is always, on point. And so I'd love to hear what you ladies would like to add.
No, I love this story because I applaud her for her strength to stand up to somebody that's to do. And like you said, 4 times is a lot of times to actually have won over and over and over. And there's no way that she's going to get to that point without having thick skin. And I applaud even the other players. Some of the other players actually came out and said, it doesn't make it right. People don't own them. We don't own her just because we're there spectators watching it. And it doesn't make it right. But she does have to take into account her own mental health. And it's perfectly understandable for her to have a moment. We all have moments. They are giants on the field, but that does not mean that they are not people. And so I just really love her for showing that vulnerability in that side of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vulnerability and authenticity.
And authenticity.
Consistently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barika, I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Okay. So, I'm back in the news. Kimye, Kanye, like it's ongoing, guys. So this week, I am bringing you the story of Kim Kardashian and her advice to working women. Now, you may or may not be familiar, but Kim Kardashian actually did a variety profile where she gave her advice to working moms. And she said this: I have the best advice for women in business. Get your effing ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. And of course, the internet went crazy with their comments about this because so many women and working women, and I'm sure all of us included, you have children, you have your careers, your businesses that we run. And for her to say, get your effing ass up and work, I was like a slap in the face, because it's not like there aren't women that are out here working every day trying to make ends meet. I don't have a nanny. I don't have people following me around. There's no maid that's coming to clean my house every day. Like I work really, really hard. So I think that that's a slap in the face. And for her to say that after coming from such a family of privilege, not that they don't work.
Exactly right.
But it's the privilege that allows her to say that. And for her personal brand, I think it took a natural ding, because people like looked up to her and respected her for her business acumen, for the things that she's trying. And for her to say that to her fans that are not as privileged, I think we all saw that come across on Twitter when she was trending for boycott Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Can I add as well? Women's History Month.
Again.
Okay. Good point.
Right? Well, the first month. This is what she comes up with, because this is a repeat, right? Like we're doing this again to each other.
I know. That's the thing. We are, don't we? I mean, we do it to each other. What is going on with that? It's
I mean, and as you're stating, to your point, it's Women's History Month. This is the time for us to be uplifting and celebrating each other. And she did not take the high road with that. Like, there are so many other things that she could have said. And for her to put down women who are actually you don't know the situations and the circumstances. Maybe they are, but I think that there was just a better way that she could have said that too. And her advice could have been a little bit more encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with that, I'm going to throw it over to you, Petia. Lift me up. Come on.
Yes. I have a really feel-good story. So NBA star, his name is Bismack Biyombo, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, is going to donate his entire year's salary for the last year, which is of $1.36 million, his entire salary, you guys, to construct a hospital in the Congo, where he comes from. So his father passed recently, and he was very close to his father. He always says that his father was the reason that he succeeded, having a really hard time with his passing, and he's kind of turning this situation into something really positive. So the foundation that's going to oversee the building of the hospital, he actually founded that with his dad in 2016. And to date, they have done some amazing work. They have given scholarships to children. They have erected academies in the villages where they come from, or the surrounding areas where he's from. And I just think this is amazing. I mean, many athletes donate some money. They set up, endowments, they set up foundations, but I think this is the first time, and I could be mistaken, that somebody is given their entire salary.
Yeah.
To cause. I think the last time somebody did this, the only person I could think about was Michael Jackson, when he donated his entire one of his concerts long time ago to a cause in Africa, I believe. But this is like going all the way back. But I haven't heard anybody in recent times doing this. And for me, this goes way beyond a personal brand. But this is like, establishing a really strong legacy, not only for himself, but for his dad as well. And hopefully, I don't know if he has any children, but I would hope that future generations would continue. This is a really high bar to set. And it just made me feel really warm inside. Like, oh my goodness, this is an amazing story. So something a little positive.
We need it. We need that.
We needed that after hearing some of the stories that we heard earlier. Okay, so with that, let's move on to our next segment. It's called Ripped from the Headlines. And during this segment, we curate some stories of note from recent headlines. And to kick it off, I will throw it to you, Zoe.
Oh, I'm back with another airline mishap.
Our resident airline reporter.
Our resident airline reporter. I love it.
Right.
Okay, but this one, I just have to shake my head. Okay, so this time it's a JetBlue pilot. In this case, trying to fly while intoxicated, not a good look. So a 52-year-old pilot was put aside when he tried to check in for his flight by the TSA officers that tested him. He had 4 times the legal flying limit, claiming he had 7 to 8 drinks the night before. There's a regulation that says 8 hours before a flight, you're not supposed to be consuming alcohol. Well, this brilliant person decided that a few drinks before, my brain just can't wrap around this one. Never mind the safety. I don't know how many times we talk about drinking and the impacts that you make to people, but talk about a brand rewind moment. There's just so many layers and levels in this one, but he's in big trouble. There's also risk of prison time. So he's not only been dismissed from his job, but he's facing now prison time.
Well, so rightly so. I mean, rightly so. Like, you're putting everybody in danger. You're the pilot. Like, everyone's life is in your hands.
Can you imagine? I mean, come on. Yeah.
No. And I'm flying JetBlue on Saturday. So I'm like,
You better.
The thing about it, JetBlue did the right thing, right? So when we talk about being on brand, like it's intimidating for someone on the sideline to say, okay, I think you might be intoxicated, go and get tested. Right. And then on top of that, JetBlue stepped up and took him off the job. So
good for them.
Hands, Denise.
Yeah. I know. But you're right, Zoe, you talk about brand rewind moment, because the stories that we've spoken about, especially the Jane story, the Kim story, now the JetBlue story. Yeah. You have to hope or hope that these folks, within a few minutes of maybe a few hours, they're regretting that decision. And they're saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should take a step back and see how I can rewind this moment so I can rewind my brain.
Right. Right.
And so, we talked about Campion. She's issued the apology. I guess that went over well. I haven't heard anything about what Kim Kardashian did. Or
she hasn't retracted anything as of yet.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a brand rewind type of person. I don't know anything about her.
Clearly not. I'm still hearing about their relationship on Twitter and Instagram. So no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to hand it to you, Denise, for the next one.
Yeah. So speaking of someone who may hopefully are thinking that maybe they should take a step back and rewind and maybe rethink some decisions they made, Jussie Smollett. And unless you're under a rock, you know that he was sentenced to 3 months in jail following his conviction for a number of felonies, but he was released last night, after I think just 5 or 6 days in jail while his case goes through the appeal process.
Right.
So hopefully, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Of course, it's in the headlines. It was everywhere that after just a few days he's out of jail. And then, but I'm struck by when he was sentenced, and you guys might have seen when he yelled out in court, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. If I was guilty, I would have admitted it a long time ago. I don't even know what that meant. What did that mean when he said, if I was guilty, I would have admitted it a long time ago? I literally watched that and I said, okay, I'm not sure what that statement was meant to accomplish, but good. Apparently, people worried about him. He was in a private cell, not with from what I read, not with the other population. And maybe there was a reason for them doing that with him, but, to go through the process, and we'll see where it ends up. But I do hope he's able to, come out of this with some semblance of a career, which everyone, no matter who you ask, and no matter what or everything I read, that his career has certainly been damaged severely.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, you never know. There could be opportunities for him down the line. And we wrote about this, early on when we first came out with Brand Rewind. It was the first article in our first issue. And it's about surrounding yourself with people who are going to tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. And Robert Downey Jr. came out of his whole phase, unscathed and became Iron Man. So anything is possible. Honestly. That's all I gotta say. Anything's possible.
This is a great analogy. Oh my goodness. You're absolutely right. He was in the headlines constantly as well.
Constantly.
Similar stories and madness. So
exactly.
But look who didn't know. What's it? Charlie Sheen, right? I'm not even sure what happened.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He never recovered. You're right.
I don't know. Maybe he did, and then he did, and then didn't. I'm not really sure, but yeah, he got himself in trouble. So before I pass it on, there was one other story that came across, talk about ripped from the headlines. It came across my phone at 6:50 this morning, and I'm going to make this really quick because I know we're running late, but the headline is Massachusetts lawmakers to vote on bill banning hair discrimination. Now, the four of us, we're Black women. We talked about our hair, especially Petia and I. We've talked a lot about our hair. I wear my hair differently all the time. Petia and I talk about, going through the pain of getting my hair straightened.
Right.
The last time I got my hair straightened, it was burning. The blow dry was burning my scalp. I was like, because I don't do my hair very often. Right. We talk about it.
Right.
So anyway, there's the Crown. I think it's called the Crown Act.
Yep. That's right.
Yes.
In California, Barika, you guys were the first ones to pass this act in July of 2019.
That's right.
Followed by New York. Petia, New York was second, also July of 2019, passing this act. So we are on Massachusetts, where I am, is on the verge of passing this act. It would ban discrimination on the basis of a person's natural hairstyle, including protective hairstyles like braids, locks, or twists.
I love it.
And it will bar schools from creating any policy that impairs or prohibits natural hairstyles. Woo, woo.
Yes.
About time.
You know why? Because this gets back to, I've talked about this with my clients, code shifting, because so many times Black women and men, people of color go into work and we want to wear braids, want to wear afros, but we don't because we want to conform to what that environment tells us we should look like. So we shift and we don't wear our natural hair. We go through the pain of getting it straightened and curled.
Yeah.
So maybe this will help with that. Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
So Massachusetts would join 15 states that have already, I think it's 14 or 15 states that have already passed this bill, the Crown Act. Woo-hoo. Okay.
That's great.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed on that. So Petia, what you got?
Yes. So Hertz. Not sure if you guys have been following Hertz in the news. But they have been arresting their customers for car theft and accusing them of stealing cars that they actually rented legally. And this seems like it's an episode of The Twilight Zone because I had to reread several articles to even understand what was happening here. And so it appears that they have had a long-standing issue with keeping track of their inventory and this sort of thing. And so many times cars are returned, but they aren't entered into the system or whatever the case is. And so what's happening is that over the years, and this goes back to 2016, I believe, they're tracking how long this has been happening, they have been arresting arresting their customers. There are warrants out for people's arrest and this sort of crazy thing for people who actually lawfully rented their cars. One of the defenses that they have is that some of the people that are now suing them returned their cars long after the return date. And, that's why the car was listed as being stolen. But the point is, if the car was actually returned, why aren't you updating your systems properly to reflect that? Right. And so right now there are about 230 plaintiffs that are suing them. Wow. And the thing that's disturbing about me is that the brand really is not coming across as being apologetic at all. They're just going along with their business and blaming their customers.
That's ridiculous.
And so, this is totally a lack of foresight, because nobody's ever going to want to rent your cars going forward if they think that they may possibly get arrested, God forbid, 4 years later for a car that they rented, paid for, and returned to you. Mm-hmm. It's just very ridiculous. Like,
that's frankly unacceptable. That is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, and that's why I don't rent from Hertz.
And I do. I'm a gold member.
I'm not trying to go to jail.
No. And one of the stories I read is this poor grandmother who had her grandchildren in the car, and they're watching her in handcuffs. Like, what is happening here? Not
Barika, you got the last story.
Oh, okay. So, guys, just imagine you're thirsty or you like some ice cream, and you go into your local Walgreens store, and you go to open the refrigerator doors, and you find this, which will pull up shortly. There you go. Those are refrigerated doors that Walgreens has rolled out to about 2,500 stores within the U.S. I don't know if you ladies have seen this, but apparently a statement from Walgreens actually said, we're creating this hybrid experience. You are shopping in a physical store and all the best that comes with it, but you get the benefit of it as if you're shopping online and having all this richness of information and content and interaction. Now, online, I always like to look at the comments, because people are like, who on God's green earth thought that this was a good idea? The digital cooler screens at Walgreens made me watch an ad before it allowed me to know which door held the frozen pizza. They are holding groceries hostage, guys. You can't even get your ice cream without having to watch an ad. Now, come on. Walgreens, listen to your customers. They do not want this. It's been on Twitter. If you look at any of the comments, they're sending in their complaints about this. I don't want to see an ad. Do you guys?
No, not at all.
And I want to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's like the gas stations. They run ads, but you can still pump your gas.
Right.
Exactly.
They don't hold you hostage.
Yeah. But I don't want to see it when I'm trying to just get some water. I just want to get my water and go. And what was crazy is that the products that they show in the ad aren't necessarily the same ones that they have behind the door. So you're not even.
It makes no sense. None whatsoever.
No.
My goodness.
It's a mess. But all I'm saying is, Walgreens, you have to listen to your customers, because this is clearly something that they are feeling a little slighted by and don't necessarily want.
Yeah, I haven't seen it here. I haven't seen any of it.
I haven't seen it here either, but I will definitely let you know. I'll take a TikTok video and send it to you later.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Before we go, thank you for that, Barika. Before we go, I did see a question pop up. About Hertz? What should Hertz do to stop this from happening? What should Hertz do?
Well, I think the starting point is to make sure that your inventory system is updated, or people are taking time to, because if this is what they're basing these stolen cars based on the fact that they're not in the system, even though they have been returned. So the first step would be to fix that. And then the second step would just to be apologize. They're not apologizing at all. Instead, they're blaming the people. Oh, you brought your car back late, but it was still returned. So it's still not stolen.
And that's what late fees are for.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Wow.
And we also have another question.
How do brands listen to their customers?
Oh, that's an easy one. I think looking at your social channels is just the first step. Like, what are people saying when you post your commercials, when you post your ads, when they see your advertisement or stories about you in the news? Looking at those conversations is step one of being able to listen to how your customers feel about things.
Yeah.
And also, I think even before that step, what happened to old school focus groups, where they would gather some people in a room and ask for feedback before doing things? Like
Pandemic.
That we do them virtually. I've done them
That's
virtually.
true. That's true.
You can prevent a whole lot of mistakes being made if you did that before. I'm pretty sure if they had screened this ad idea,
Yes.
they would have gotten the feedback that
sure.
it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
They would have.
Right.
Yeah.
We
I
could talk.
agree.
We could talk on and on and
Right.
on. We love when the four of us get together.
It's
talk.
on.
Yeah, that's true.
We talk. We talk.
Okay. Any more questions? I love it.
I just love this comment.
Right.
I love this comment. I love it.
Oh, okay. Oh, great comment. All right. So we're out of time. Wow. These 30 minutes just fly by.
They really, really do.
They do.
They really, really do. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed everything we covered tonight. If you need a brand rewind or you know somebody who does, you'd like us to cover it on the show, shoot us an email at brandrewind@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Don't forget to follow us. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We're here. Happy to help.
Yes. And we will be back in mid-April because we only come on twice a month. So we will see you hopefully back here on April 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you in mid-April.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good week.